Okay, guys. So did you understand why there is RR conflict here? Why there is RR conflict here? Is it clear to you guys? This example seems a little bit confusing. Am I right? This
Yes, sir.
example seems a little bit confusing. Why don't we give better example? Am I right? So remember, here RR conflict happening because augmented product in the dollar sign and the reduced move. R1 is also on the dollar sign. That's why there is RR conflict. And moreover, this grammar is ambiguous. Ambiguous, ambiguous grammar cannot 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 use in LR0%. In fact, in fact, no SR%. You know that. We cannot, ambiguous grammar cannot use in LR0%, in fact, no SR%. Except operator precedence person. So why this is happening? What do you think? What is the reason behind that? Ambiguous grammar cannot use in LR0%. In fact, no SR% except OPP. What do you think? Why it is happening? If we can really create this kind of table, then what's wrong? Why cannot we use that? What do you think? What's problem? আমরা যে বলি ambiguous grammar cannot use in LR0%. In fact, no SR% except OPP. What's wrong? Why cannot we use? What do you think? If we try to draw this kind of state transition diagram, what happened in the ambiguous grammar? Huh?
NFA found করে স্যার।
Huh? What happened?
NFA found করে না স্যার?
NFA, forget about NFA. If we try to draw, this grammar is ambiguous. Am I right?
জি স্যার।
This grammar is ambiguous. Why this is ambiguous? Let's take this string A. Am I right? So we can derive A to A, or we can derive A to capital A to A. There are two different parts. Am I right? Two different parts. So this grammar is ambiguous. Now, we already at the very beginning of the parsing classes, we have told ambiguous grammar cannot use in SR%. In fact, no parser can use ambiguous grammar except operator precedence grammar. There are also a lot of catches. So ambiguous grammar is useless. Why it is useless? What is wrong with ambiguous grammar? What is wrong with ambiguous grammar? If we gone through this process of state transition diagram and table, what happened to ambiguous grammar? So that it becomes
Conflicts.
it creates conflict. Simple. Because it creates conflicts. Simple. So that is why whenever you take any ambiguous grammar, definitely it is going to create conflicts. So that's why we cannot use actually the ambiguous grammar for person. Simple. Did you understand the point? And we have already given you an example that this grammar is ambiguous in C. There is a conflict. Did you understand? Is it clear? Yes?
Yes.
And what
Yes.
type of conflict is this? RR conflict. Now let's try to give another good example of RR conflict. It is a little bit confusing, I understand. Let's give you another good example. How about this? How about this? S derives, খুব simple example দিচ্ছি। S derives A or B, A derives A, B derives B, A. Simple. Now what would be our first step? What would be our first step?
Augmented product.
Adding the augmented product. So let's add augmented product. S dash derives. Yes. Now S dash derives dot S derives dot A or dot B. Now because of this, A derives dot A, B derives dot A. We are done with closure. Am I right? Am I right? Now move over S dash derives S dot. We are done. Move over here. A, what do we get? S derives A dot. Done. Move on B. What do we get? S derives B dot. Done. Move on A derives A dot. And B derives A dot. Do you agree with me or not? Yes, sir. Okay. Now let's try to analyze. It is augmented product. Fine. There is no more products or go to. Fine. It is fine. How about this? There is a reduce, no shift. Fine. There is reduce, no shift. Done. No more reduce over here or here as well. How about this? How many reduce are there?
Two.
Two.
Two of them.
Two. Why one? A derives A dot. This is one, and B derives A. Done. So that is the RR conflict. Do you agree with me or not? Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So there are RR conflict. So it is a good example of RR conflict. Now, what is the reason behind this RR conflict? What is the reason behind RR
A
conflict?
derives small letter A and B derives small letter
What
A.
is the specialty about this grammar so that it is actually giving conflict? What is the reason?
Because the grammar is ambiguous.
Because this grammar is ambiguous. How? Let's try to derive A. How can you derive A? S derives A, then you derive A. Or you can do S derives B and you can derive A. Two different parts. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So the grammar is ambiguous. Grammar is ambiguous. Ambiguous. That's why there is RR conflict. So two type of conflicts are possible. One is shift reduce conflict. Another one is reduce conflict. So if we talk about conflicts, number one, yes sir, shift reduce. Number two, RR reduce. Now, is there any other conflict possible? Tell me. Is there any other conflict possible?
স্যার শিফট হতে পারে না স্যার?
If it is possible, give me the reason behind that. When conflict arises, tell me. When conflict arises, go to diagram, please. When conflict arises. In this diagram, there is a conflict. Why this conflict arises? What is the reason behind conflict? When conflict arises. Conflict. What is the reason behind conflict? Tell me.
There are multiple
Multiple
actions.
entries. Wonderful. There are multiple entries. Fine. But the thing is, for example, say like this. You say about reduce conflict. For example, here, if you move on A, let's say something like this. S derives A dot A and A derives B dot A. Okay. Now, if you shift on A, what do you get? If you shift on A, what do you get? Let's say we have another A. If you shift on A, what do you get? You get S derives double A dot A and A derives BA dot A. Is there any reason for conflict over here? Is there any reason for conflict over there? Is there any reason over conflict over there? From this state, you shift, you go to that state. So why there would be a conflict? Why there would be a multiple entries? Is it really possible? No, sir. It is not possible. Why there will be multiple entries over there? There will be no multiple entries. It means you move on that product and the another product as well. So both product going to this state, from this state to this state. So there is no reason behind multiple entries in the table. Am I right or not? Is it clear to you or not? Tell me. Huh? It is very simple. If you have a shift, if you have double shift over there, single product has double shift, there is no problem. You move both products to next state. So what is wrong with that? We are not taking care of actually the conflicts happens because of the state. It is not because of the how many products are moving to new state. Am I right or not? So whenever there are multiple shift possible over more than one product, there is no conflict. But what is the reason behind conflict? Why we can get multiple entries in the same table? Tell me, what is the reason? Why we get that one? Why we get that? See, wait. Let's assume this is state number 1. This is state number 2. So if you go to state table, so like this. So if you are in state 1, now A, what you are going to write over here? What you are going to write over here? What you are going to write over here? This is state 1, this is state 2. Multiple products move from state 1 to state 2 after shifting A. What you are going to write over here? What would be the entry here?
S2.
Shift 2, right? So no problem. No problem. There is no problem over here. There is no question of multiple entries. So why we can get multiple entries? Why we can get multiple entries?
On reduce.
If there is a reduce move over here, then what happens? We also need to write the reduce move over here. According to definition of SLR 0%. So that time we always get the conflict. Do you understand? Yes. So extra thing is reduce. So always remember in conflicts, reduce must be there. Reduce must be there. Shift might there, might not there, but reduce must be there. So conflicts can be of two types. There might have two reduce in a more than one reduce in a single state, or there might have a reduce and shift available. So the definition is more than one reduce at least one. So this is the definition. Is it clear to you? Do you have any query you can ask me? বুঝা গেল কেন there would be always reduce in the conflicts? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
What is the reason? Can you explain? What is the reason? কথা বলেন না বলে তো বুঝবো না
Sir, when we are trying to reduce cognitive conflict. হচ্ছে
He is asking why there would not be shift conflict. What is wrong with shift conflict? Why don't there would not be shift conflict? Simple. See, what do you mean by shift conflict? Shift conflict means what is the meaning of shift? Multiple products might go from one state to another state, shifting a terminal. So see, this is a state, number one. So more than one product going to state number two, shifting A. No problem. In the entry A, I'm going to write S2. Because these entries, shift, reduce, they don't depend on how many products are there. They depend on what? Depend on states and actions. States and actions. So S is action. This number is state. So this thing depends on, this entry depends on action and state. Action and state. So that's why if there are multiple shift on from one state to another state on a more than one product, there is no shift conflict. It does not any problem. Is it clear to you? Okay. Now let's come back to another important. Whenever the grammar is ambiguous, what can we conclude actually? Whenever there are multiple Whenever there are multiple grammars, what can we call it actually?
There is RR
There is
conflict.
SL or RR conflict. So, first thing is, this is very simple. First thing is very simple. First thing is, if the grammar is ambiguous, definitely there is SR or RR conflict. Simple. Is the reverse true? Is the reverse true? Is the reverse true? What do you think? Is the reverse true? That means if there is SR or RR conflict, is the grammar ambiguous?
I don't think so, sir.
You don't think so? Can you give me an example?
I can give you an example, but
Okay, so let's try. I know an example. So I'm going to give you an example. So the answer is this one we know, but the answer of this is no. So let's take this one. Let's take E derives T okay. So let's try to find out LR0 parsing table for this. So what is the first step I need to do? I need to add augmented product. আজকে কি ভিডিও কোয়ালিটি খুব বাজে? Okay. So we add the augmented product. Then what we should do? What is the first step? What is the first step I need to do?
Find the closure.
Try to find out closer. So let's try to find out closer. It has derives dot if it derives T we have to stop. Am I right? Then what happened? What is the second step? E derives E dash derives E dot. We have to stop over here. Moving on T, what do you get? T derives T
Plus E.
or T dot. You have to stop over here. And ID, what do you get? T derives. Okay. Now what else? So let's number this 0, 1, 2. There is a final item over here. 3. Now moving on plus derives plus dot E. We have to again add T derives dot T plus C dot T derives dot ID. Now what happened? Moving on ID, I'm going to here. Moving on T, why should I go? Tell me. Moving on T, why should I go? Moving on T, why should I go? I'm going back to here. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Moving on T, I'm going back to here. T, I'm going back to here. And what else? I have one other more. So ID is done, T is done, so E. E, I'm going to where? E derives T plus E. So let's call this 4. There's a final item. Is there any conflict there or not? Tell me. Is there any conflict there or not? So we understand whenever conflict, there must have a reduced mode. So which one I'm going to follow? Which one I'm going to search? Which states I'm going to search for conflict?
Final step.
The states which
final item.
contains the final states, because definitely there is a reduce move in the conflict. So only the final states is enough to find out the conflict. So here there is no, it is a final item, but there is no shift there. So fine. Here it is augmented, reduce, there is no shift there. How about here? How about here? See, there is a reduce over here and there is a shift over here. So SR conflict there. So there is SR conflict. And how about this? This is fine. So do you understand? So this grammar is actually not parsable using LRZ. Not parsable using LRZ. But is this grammar ambiguous? Is this grammar ambiguous?
No, sir.
This grammar is not ambiguous. This grammar is not ambiguous. Why it is not ambiguous? Because see, here associativity is defined. Am I right? Because it is right recursive. It is not both way recursive. It is only right recursive. So that's why associativity is defined. And there is only one operator. So there is no clash about operators. So operator precedence is not required. And another thing is, only problem might arise whenever there is associativity problem. But it is T, it is E. So it is right recursive. So associativity of the plus is already defined. So there is no problem. This grammar is not ambiguous. Now what is problem? Why the grammar is not ambiguous till we cannot have any LR0 parsing. We don't have any LR0 parser. What's wrong with this? Tell me. What do you think? What is problem? What is the problem? So let's draw the LR0 parsing table. What would be the LR0 parsing table? What will be the LR0 parsing table? 0, 1, 2, 3, then 4, then 5. 5 is the final item, 3 is the final item, 2 is the final item, 1 is the final item. And we divide the whole table into two parts. One is shift, one is shift, one is shift, Another one is go to. So we have shift on plus and
ID.
plus and ID and dollar. We have go to on E and E. So let's fill the table. 0 seeing E, why should I go? State number 1. 0 seeing T, I should go to state number 2. ID, I'm going to shift 3. Now let's go to 1 to 3. Let's go to 1. $1 accepted. Let's go to 2. 2 seeing plus. 2 seeing plus, I'm going to shift 4. 2 seeing plus, I'm going to shift 4. What else? What else? Nothing else. And then go to 3. 3 is the final item. Filling later. Then 4. Forcing T, I should go to state number 2. Forcing T, I'm going to state number 2. Forcing E, I'm going to state number 5. Now let's go to 5. 5 is the final item. Now let's number these products. Let's call it rule number 1. Call it 2. Let's call it 3. So according to LR0 percent table, I have to put the reducible in the entire row of shift. So 1 is fine, it is augmented. 2. In 2, which rule I have? E derives T, which is nothing but rule number 2. So rule number 2, rule number 2, rule number 2. In 3, which rule I have? I have rule number 3. So rule number 3, rule number 3, and rule number 3. And 5, I have rule number 1, rule number 1, rule number 1. So see, there is a SR conflict there. Now tell me, what is the reason behind SR conflict? The grammar is ambiguous, not ambiguous. Still, there is a SR conflict. So what would be the conclusion? What can you say? Any any logic behind this one? A person, listen carefully. Let's take 2 persons, Samira and another one is Farhim. Farhim cannot solve a problem, but Samira solved that problem and he gave the correct solution. What is the conclusion? Come on, what is the conclusion? A problem is given. Farhim fails to solve that problem, but Samira come up with correct solution. What can you conclude?
Samira is smarter.
Huh?
Samira is smarter.
Samira is smarter. Talmana, what can you say? The grammar is not ambiguous. Fine. The grammar is not ambiguous, but still we cannot use LR0 parser for parsing this grammar. So what can we say? What can we say? Come on, you already given the answer. Why you are taking time? It says LR0 is not powerful enough to parse this. LR0 is not powerful enough to parse this grammar. So naturally you might ask, sir, is there any more powerful parser? Yes, there is more powerful parser. So what is the next powerful parser? What is the next powerful parser? SLR1 or standard LR parser.
Samira LR1.
Samira LR1 না, এখন SLR1 এ গেল। So we are going to next powerful parser, which is nothing but standard LR1 parser. In brief, we write SLR1. Now, what is the difference between LR0 and SLR1? Tell me. Okay, so wait. In LR0, what do we write the reduced move? What do we write the reduced move? In LR0, where we
In the
place,
final item states.
where where we place the reduced move? In LR0, where we place the reduced move? LR0, where we place the reduced move? Entire row of shift. Do you agree with me or not?
Yes, sir.
Huh? See, this reduced move is placed on entire row of shift. Am I right? Is it logical? Is it logical? Is it logical? Is it logical or not?
What do you mean by logical?
See,
No, sir, it's not because
it is not logical. So what would be the logical? Let's assume something like this. Let's assume in my stack there is a AA. Okay? In my stack there is a AA. I have a product SD as AA. Now my buffer is pointing to somewhere. This is my lookout. So you are trying to reduce this one. Am I right? This double A is going to be reduced to S. This double A is going to reduce to S. In LR0, you don't care about look ahead. Am I right? You just blindly remove this A and make it S. Is it a logical move? Is it a logical move? You don't care about look ahead. That side is 0. Now, is it a logical move? Yes, no. Please tell something. Is it a logical move or
no,
not?
sir. No, no, no.
It is not a logical move. Oh, so what would be the logical move? What would be the logical move?
See what comes next.
So what would be the relation between this S and LA? What would be the relation between this and this? Come on, tell me, what would be the relation between this S and look ahead? What is
Cousins. Sir,
huh?
cousins.
Cousins? What cousins are you talking about? Oh, see, here you put the reduce move in the entire shift column, shift row. But this is not a logical move. You are blindly putting the reduce move in the entire places. So what would be the logical move? Tell me. Why do you need to put the reduce move? Why do you need to put the reduce move? Only when, so logical move would be in SLR1, the reduce move is placed on follow of LHS. This is the logical move. This is more logical move. Am I right? This is more logical move. I'm not going to blindly reduce it. Instead of blindly reduce it, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the reduce move on the follow of left hand side. Follow of left hand side. So now let's come back to here. So we have to again find out the follow. So what is follow of E? What is follow of E? What is follow of E here? What is follow of E?
Dollar.
Huh?
Dollar.
Follow of E is dollar. Then what else? Anything else? So let's try to find out. Fall of E is nothing but fall of E, so it is dollar. Yeah. Fall of T, what is fall of T?
Follow T.
Fall of T is
Follow T.
Plus.
plus, and fall of T is nothing but fall of E, so it is nothing but dollar. So we got the follow. Now, instead of putting the reduce move in the entire row, what we are going to do? We are going to put it follow of left hand side. So let's go back here. Rule number 5. So state number 5. What is the reduce move? R1. What is R1? What is R1? E derives T plus C. So we are not going to put the reduce move in the entire row. What we are going to do? We are going to put it in the follow of E. So what is follow of E? Follow of E is nothing but dollar. So we are going to remove this and this. Only that and that. Is it clear to you guys?
Yes, sir.
Now let's go to rule number 3. What is rule number 3? Rule number 3 is nothing but T derives IT. So what is the left hand side? T. We are not going to put this reduce move in the entire row. We put it in the follow of T. So what is follow of T? Follow of T is nothing but plus and dollar. So we are going to remove this one. Now let's come back here. This is what? This is rule number 2. Rule number 2 is nothing but E derives T. E derives T. So what is the, why should I put this rule? Follow of E. So what is follow of E? Dollar. So we are going to remove this and this. Then what happened? Magically one of the shift reduce move has been disappeared. Did you agree with me or not?
Yes, sir.
Did you agree with me or not?
Yes, sir.
So now previously there is the shift reduce move, but now that reduce move is disappeared, so the config is also disappeared. Do you agree with me or not?
Yes, sir.
So though this grammar is not LR0, this grammar is not LR0, this grammar is, now it becomes, this step becomes SLR1 percent. And though this grammar is not, though
This down.
this grammar is not LR0, is SLR. So did you get it? If you have any question, you can ask. Any question you can ask me.
Yes, sir. A question.
Please go ahead.
Does SLR1 solve all the conflicts of
No. That's why we have more powerful. LALR1, CLR1. And you are going to see there are still some grammars which are not ambiguous. Still we cannot parse because it can fail all the parsers. There is an example. I'm going to show you. Don't worry. So that's why not all ambiguous grammar can be used for parsing. Because we don't have enough powerful tool to solve that problem. That is the constraint of human being or our intelligence. Did you get it?
Yes, sir.
That is the thing. Yes, right now we have solved this problem using a more powerful parser. But eventually what happens? It happens, there are some grammars which are not ambiguous, still we cannot parse because our tools are not powerful enough. আচ্ছা এখন একটা কম্পারিজন করেন তো দেখি let's make a comparison. Let's make a comparison. Let's make a comparison. Let's make a comparison. Comparison হচ্ছে LR0 and SLR1. What is the difference? Let's make a comparison. Let's make a comparison. Tell me, what is the comparison? Let's make a comparison. LR0, SLR1. What I need to put reduce move in LR0?
Entire row.
Entire row of
Shift.
shift. What I need to put here?
Follow of LHS.
Follow of LHS. Reduce move. Now, number 2. Blank entries. কোনটাতে blank entries বেশি?
SLR है one है.
More. Less. তাহলে based on this, error handling capability কার বেশি?
SLR one. SLR one.
কেন? কেন? Why? Blank entries and error handling capabilities are closely related. Whenever there is a blank entries, what is the meaning of this? Blank entry is what? Blank entry is what? A blank entry is what? Blank entry means it's error. Am I right? Blank
Yes,
entry
sir.
means
Yes.
it is error. Am I right or not? What is blank entry? Come on, guys.
So
What
that
is
there
blank
is an
entry?
error.
Blank entry means it's error. So SLR has more blank entries. So which one is more error handling capability?
LR0.
LR0 বলে আবার SLR1 কারণ it has more blank entries. More blank entries mean it can catch more errors. So it has more. It has less. Okay? আচ্ছা
Sir, blank
conflicts.
entries মানে কি error?
Blank entries মানে যখনই whenever you go to blank entries it means error. So for
So
example you
more
have a
blank entries তাহলে sir
wait,
more
wait, you have a table which is almost fill up. I have a table which is less fill up. Now what happened? I can catch more errors because I have more blanks. Am I right?
okay sir.
I can catch more errors because my table is shallow. I can catch more errors. So which one has more power to handle the errors? The shallow table. Am I right?
Yes, yes.
Here data is not good. Data is bad. The less data, better. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So blank entries, it has more. So that's why its error handling capability is more. Conflict chance. Conflict chance, which one has more?
LR0.
I understand. Samira, you are confused with this. It is not like the those kind of things. That it is not a little bit technical. See the relation. More entries proportional to more conflicts.
Yes, sir. I got it. Yeah.
And less entries proportional to less conflicts. And more entries inversely proportional to error handling. Less entries inversely proportional to error handling. Here data is bad. Here data is not good. You have more data, it means you have more possibility of conflict, less possibility of having error
Yes, sir. Got it. Yeah.
handling, less possibility of having error handling because it is inversely proportional. So conflict chance, which one has more?
LR0.
And this one is less. So which one is more powerful?
SLR one.
So this one is more. This one is less. So these are the table I'm talking about. More entries proportional to more conflicts. Less entries proportional to less conflicts. More entries inversely proportional to error handling. Because you have more entries, you can error handle less. Less than please inversely proportional to error. That's that. Do you have any query? You can ask me. So always remember in SLR1 we do not put the entries in entire row of the shift. We put it on the follow of LHS. Done? Do you have any query? You can ask me or I can. Guys, any query?
Sir, can you give us homework?
Okay, I'm going to give you a homework. Should we leave here today?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
take
sir.
care. আমাদের তো বৃহস্পতিবার most probably I will have a class.
Yes,
Am I
we
right?
have a makeup. Yes, sir.
Makeup class. So Thursday we are talking about the Lexa York. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay,
So
sir.
that be a programming tutorial class. Okay, take care. Have a nice day.